Welcome to our 8 Sports Extra Racing in Richmond. Before we talk about Saturday, we have to talk about the action in Atlanta yesterday. Bad weather delayed the Sprint Cup race scheduled for Sunday all the way to Tuesday morning, and that's when Jeff Gordon made a little history. Pick it up, lap 24. Brian Vickers leads, but he gets a little loose. That's all Clint Boyer needs to swing to the front. Denny Hamlin nearly gets together with Vickers, but he will slide into second. Boyer's lead doesn't last long. One lap later, Denny Hamlin takes over. A win for either of these guys would put him in great position for the wild card. But trouble for the 33 team. He was trying to get around Juan Montoya, and instead he ends up in the wall on lap 241. A good run spoiled. His chase hopes all but dashed. The last 50 laps, a pretty spirited duel between teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. 4 laps to go here. It's Gordon taking over the lead. This would be an outstanding finish. With the white flag out, it's Johnson sideways through the final turn. Jeff Gordon wins his 3rd checkered flag of the season. It was his 85th career Cup Series win. That moves him into 3rd on the all-time list. So now where does that leave us heading into Richmond, the last race to make the chase? Well, the top 8 drivers in the standings are locked into the postseason. Now, we've reseeded them here for you based on the number of wins on the season. If the chase started right now, Kyle Busch would be at the top of the board thanks to his 4 wins. Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, and Matt Kenseth would follow. Everyone else is locked in at just 1 win. That list includes Jimmy Johnson, the current points leader, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, and Ryan Newman. And here are the guys on the bubble, still in relatively good shape. Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart both have a decent-sized cushion on Brad Keselowski for the final 2 chase spots, though Keselowski is already in the chase, at least as a wild card. Chesterfield's Denny Hamlin currently holds the final wild card entry into the chase. But check out the wild card race. You have to finish in the top 20 to qualify, but with a win, in all likelihood, all of these guys would end up there. So if any of these 4 drivers takes the checkered flag Saturday under the lights, they will earn the final wild card berth. Plenty more ahead from our 8 Sports Extra. I sit down with track president Dennis Bickmeyer, and Yanni Caracas is on an aircraft carrier with Carl Edwards. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 8 Sports Extra Racing in Richmond, back at Richmond International Raceway with track president Dennis Bickmeyer. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy man.
My pleasure. Glad to be here. Looking forward to a great weekend.
Now, if you could just put into words what your past 2 months have been like. You've been on an aircraft carrier with Carl Edwards. You've been at Walter Reed Hospital with a bunch of NASCAR drivers. You've been back and forth to Michigan. How crazy have these last 2 months been?
Actually, it's not really hard to explain and put it into words. But, I mean, there's been both sides. There's been the personal side of that and going back and forth and getting my family transitioned here, getting a race done in Michigan and getting that behind us, and then obviously the planning for this one. And then you sprinkle in all those other things that you mentioned, which are really cool, by the way. I mean, to land on an aircraft carrier. And Carl was fantastic and did a great job with all the sailors on the ship by answering questions, signing autographs. He was amazing. And the Walter Reed visit, you know, you talk about things that are hard to put into words. That's very difficult. You know, we went there to inspire these wounded warriors, and they ended up inspiring us. And we're going to have a lot of them out here this weekend as well. We got a very fitting 9/11 tribute planned.
Now, for the past 2 months, I would imagine when you took over, you had a list of goals that you wanted to accomplish. How close are you to finishing that list?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of it's still going to play out over the weekend. As you know, as I've told everyone, for me, it's going to be very important to see the place lit up. You know, literally and figuratively, I guess. So, you know, I think the biggest thing is, and I told the staff, is they're really good at what they do. They put on great events, and I'm smart enough to get out of their way. So, you know, I think that I'm coming to this with a fresh set of perspective and a fresh set of eyes. So, from a list perspective, there are some things that I've seen over the last couple of months that I really want to see when people are here.
You sound so excited for Friday and Saturday night, but are you nervous at all? Are you excited? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it's all that range of emotions. You know, I think it'll really hit me. You know, I think once the cars start going out and the fans start coming in through the grandstands, and I have an opportunity to interact with the fans, and I'm anxious to hear their perspective, what they like, what they don't like about Richmond, and where they think we should go for the future. But yeah, it is just a complete wave of emotions, you know, and there's a lot of nervous energy there, but there's a lot of excitement as well.
It's the last race to make the chase, of course. You have 5 or 6 guys fighting for those 2 wild cards. It couldn't have set up any better for you for this race?
I love what NASCAR's done with the points. I think our fans do as well, and I think fans that are new to the sport, this has been a much easier process for them to follow. They understand wild cards. They understand being on the bubble and everything. I think that's cool. I think it's given us something to talk about week in and week out.
You're trying to make this race as accessible to everyone as possible. Can you talk about some of these ticket deals you have going on?
Yeah, no doubt. I think from the first part of it is when you look at our Sprint Cup Series race, the Wonderful Pistachios 400, tickets are as low as $45. And then you start looking at the family sections that we have and kid pricing and everything at $25. I think you're exactly right. We're trying to make the sport more accessible, more people. Obviously, I know people have been through some tough times. We want to get a lot of our fans back to the track, and we have a lot of new fans that we want to have come out and experience this for the first time. And we always say this, if you can just get people to the track, the place sells itself, the event sells itself. So we have to be able to do that, and pricing is one of those ways to do that. So we've really focused on that. I don't think pricing's been this low for like 6 or 7 or 8 years.
Dennis, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking the time with us. Now, we talked earlier about that aircraft visit with Carl Edwards, and Yanni Caracas was there with you, and he has more on that story.
With the USS Eisenhower somewhere on the Atlantic Ocean, we began our day on the ground at the Chambers Field of the Norfolk Navy Station. Carl Edwards and the rest of our team boarded our C-2 plane, a Navy aircraft used to transport people and supplies to aircraft carriers. Here's the view from my front row seat. You face backwards and it's snug in there, but a pretty cool feeling knowing you're in the military's hands. After a 45-minute ride, we arrived onto Ike, over 200 miles southeast from Norfolk, with a landing unlike you've ever experienced. Eisenhower is 1,100 feet by 260 feet, but that's not a lot of space for an airplane to land. We went from 105 miles per hour to 0 in 2 seconds. King's Dominion has nothing on this experience. Into the aircraft carrier we go for more instructions.
The next thing you have to do is good old airline style, red pull tab, reach down in the right hand side, pull, it'll inflate.
Up and down stairwells and through hallways, we're now ready to venture out onto the flight deck.
Prepared to fall off the deck, to get blown off the deck by jet wash. Whatever happens, happens. These guys are amazing. This place is crazy. I can't believe they're going to let me go up here on the flight deck. I'm excited about it.
Amazing it was. The wind from the ocean mixed with the hot and powerful jet engine smoke made for a bit of an uneven walk. Right as we got settled on the deck, F-18 fighter jets were taking off and landing onto Eisenhower.
When that first plane landed, the cable jumped up off the deck, and man, I jumped. The cable scared me.
We are now in Hangar Bay 2, where Carl Edwards is interacting with sailors and signing autographs. It was the best part of the day for Carl and the sailors alike, interacting.
And thank you for your service. Good luck with the rest of the season. Thank you.
Talking family.
He's a big NASCAR fan. He's only 4, but he loves NASCAR.
Talking NASCAR.
And I wrecked bad at Daytona in July.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
It wasn't real bad. It'd be awesome to win a championship. That's the mission.
And exchanging gifts.
That one's for you.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Cool.
All right.
I'm not a rescue swimmer.
Huge morale boost. Anytime you can get somebody that's in the public eye and they take the time out of their day to come out here and visit us, it means a lot.
There's no comparison to this and what I do every week. This is real. I mean, this is folks sacrificing and taking huge risks for our country.
Like, a lot of people don't know this goes on every day. Like there's always a carrier out at sea.
Before leaving Ike, the troops repaid Carl by singing him happy birthday. The driver of the 99 car spent all day on aircraft carrier number 69, a birthday he surely won't forget, and an experience I'll always remember as well. On USS Eisenhower, I'm Yanni Caracas, 8 Sports.
Thanks, Yanni. Time to give away our 2 tickets to the Wonderful Pistachios 400. Congratulations to our 8 Sports Blitz fan, Christina Lopez. We'll contact you by email, but you have to pick these tickets up by Friday at 5. Thanks for watching. I'm Phil Orban. We'll do it all again tomorrow night.